Good evening and welcome to Unscripted. There's something about this space that pulls people in. The numbers, the charts, the chaos. But for some, it becomes something deeper, not just a market to watch, but a path to understand. A place where instinct meets discipline, where risk meets conviction, and where the ones who stay long enough start to see what others miss. Tonight's conversation is about that journey. It's about someone who didn't just stumble into crypto during the noise, but lived through the cycles, the highs that made everything feel possible, and the quiet moments in between where clarity is actually built. It's about taking what most people overlook and turning it into a strategy, a mindset, a way of operating in a market that never sleeps. This is someone who understands the power of timing, the patience it takes to wait, and the discipline it takes to act when others hesitate. Someone who saw opportunity in places most people wouldn't even think to look and turned that into a voice, a platform, and a growing presence in a space that rewards those who stay consistent. From corporate finance to navigating the uncertainty of early crypto cycles to building something from the ground up during one of the toughest bear markets we've seen, this story is about betting on yourself when nothing is guaranteed. This is about learning, adapting, and showing up over and over again until it clicks. Tonight, we sit down with someone who built their lane by focusing on what others ignored: undervalued opportunities, community driven narratives, and the art of buying low and selling with intention. This is a conversation with Ben Crypto. So, welcome today, my friend. How are you doing?
Doing good. Thank you very much for having me, Leslie. It's a great, excellent intro you gave me right there. I appreciate it. You're looking good, and I'm excited to be on here.
You are very, very welcome. Well, thank you for saying yes and coming on. You know, you are in spaces with a lot of our mutuals, and you give a lot of knowledge and a lot of insight, a lot of information. You understand the crypto market, the ups and downs, the bears, everything. But I do have a question for you. When you strip away the charts, the calls, the wins, and the losses, who were you before crypto ever found you, and how much of that person still shows up in who you are today?
It's a good question. I'm just somebody who's always kind of like the financial markets, numbers, gambling, you could say, kind of figuring things out. Is something going to sort of go up in value? Is something going to become trendy in society? That sort of stuff. So obviously that applies perfectly to crypto. So just in one sentence, one or two sentences in a nutshell, that would be me just, unscripted like that there.
Yeah, unscripted, raw and real here with Ben Crypto. Ben, you've lived through cycles that test people mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. What was the moment where you questioned everything, and what brought you back?
So this is my fourth bear market that I've been a part of here. So
Oh,
I've owned crypto or Bitcoin for the three of the four. I didn't buy it the first one, but I am sort of very used to it. You know, the first one, it was like everyone thought it was going to zero. You sort of lose your conviction. You actually think the market's going to go to zero. By the second one, you sort of get over that mentality, but you still don't know how long it's going to last. By the third one, you're used to it. You know, it's going to be a year or something like that. You just have to be patient. By the fourth one, it's like, okay, now I'm going to use all this active, you have a little more free time. I'm going to use it sort of proactively to research undervalued gems, research what sectors I think are going to become hot, how to, re-strategize my portfolio. So each bear market gets a little less painful and just a little bit more productive and even interesting, you could say.
yeah, for you, of course. Now, we have a lot of people that have been here, and this is, I would say, their first. This is your fourth. And okay, so first question, since it's your fourth, Do you feel that it is any different than previous ones? You know, some people that have been here already even a couple of times say that it does feel a little bit different. And then second question to that is for the people that are here for the first time, what advice would you give them?
So the first question is a great question because every time I start to see tweets or just people saying, okay, this one feels different. We are never going to come back. We're never going to get these pumps. Then you're going to get those pumps pretty soon. So I've started to see more tweets like that in the last few weeks. Initially, people just starting to give up, thinking it's just going to be a permanent bear market cycle. So once you see more and more of that, you know that the prices are going to turn around. And then nothing has really sort of changed ever since the first bear market cycle. I remember in 2014, Bitcoin was at $200 and then it pumped to $1,200. And then I didn't actually buy any. I was stupid. But then then it pumped it after the Mt. Gox disaster happened. Then it went from $1,200 all the way down to 400, 350 was the typical 70, 75% dip. And then even then, there were a few people. I was going on the Reddit message boards. I was talking to a few friends I had in Los Angeles who were into Bitcoin, who owned it. And they were saying, okay, I don't know. Do you think we're ever going to go back up again? I don't know. It's just 75%. Even stocks don't go down this much. Like, what's going on? Even I knew back then, I was like, okay, this could be a good buying opportunity. Because when it was first at 200, I had friends trying to get me to buy it. I didn't buy it. Then Mt. Gox took off, and that controlled 70% of people in the world who were buying Bitcoin at that point. So then Bitcoin went up to 1,200. I missed the boat there, but when it went back to 400, even though I didn't pull the trigger, I was thinking in my brain, okay, it's probably a good opportunity to buy. It feels like this Bitcoin thing is here to stay. So I'm going to start looking into ways like Coinbase. Kraken was around back then. Circle Financial had a way to go debit card straight to like fiat, straight to crypto back then. So I was looking into ways, and then I didn't actually pull the trigger back then. It was done, but the mentality stays the same. And then obviously the prices did come back around. It took a good year and a half, most of 2014, all of 2015, they started to uptick. Early 2016, and then every market's like that. And then what was the second question you asked again?
For the people that are coming in, that this is actually their first cycle, what advice would you give them?
So the prices are going to turn back around. Just patience, basically. Don't get too frustrated, flustered, and just use the time proactively as opposed to just waking up and looking at CoinMarketCap and thinking, okay, are we up or down? Is today the day? Actually, start to look at different sectors you think are going to rise. Look at undervalued gems, or even just kind of study on crypto Twitter. Try to learn, talk to people, who are the best analysts, you could say, who are the people you want to trust, who don't have a good reputation, even though they have big followings. That's pretty much your bread and butter, which people you want to follow, who are the best. So just anything you can to sort of get that edge, because once prices start to rise, then you don't have enough minutes in the day. It's like every hour there's some new coin pumping, and it's sort of like ADD. It's almost too much. It's less stressful right now, I think, because you don't have too many coins just getting thrown in your face. So use this time productively to research, and then when the prices pump, then you'll just be ready to go.
I mean, right now we're oversaturated, right, with coins. Everything is like just being dumped out there. It's like, what do you even know what to look for and what to go in to?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you select one that you want to possibly think that it has potential?
Or even more oversaturated a year ago or a year and a half ago, and things were really fine. On the meme coin front, it's a couple different things. Is the narrative is something catchy? Is it something that can go viral on Twitter? Is it something that can be interwoven into a tweet organically, like the words, the name of the coin? That always helps right there. And then who are the people covering it? Which, like, how big is the community? More specifically, who are the influencers? Do they stick with projects for a long time? Are they generally pretty good with their calls? They have good reputations. They have big followings. That people tend to buy stuff that they buy. And then if you know stuff about the dev, what's his reputation? And then is it just like sort of a one-off thing? Like, I don't really buy coins that are based on one certain event that just became trendy, like just a one-off sort of TikTok viral thing or whatnot. It can have longevity, but I prefer something that has a narrative that you're just going to keep seeing on a repeated basis. So those are just a few of the things in the meme coin front I look for.
Ben, a lot of people, when we're in this space, we see the calls, the timing, and sometimes we see, people like you that are probably seasoned, the confidence. And sometimes, do you ever have doubt when you are going into any play, when you are trading, and what does that look like when nobody is watching?
Yeah, there's always doubt, and then always in the beginning, like I have a tendency, I'll buy a low cap and then it goes down a little bit initially, And then it's like, okay, I wish I waited a couple days. I could have gotten a better entry. And you always kind of doubt yourself a little. It already increased, like it decreased 20%. I know it's going to turn. I think it's going to turn around eventually. So there's always a little bit of doubt right there. Timing the market is obviously impossible. But if your fundamentals are correct and you just have, sort of checks off all your boxes, you didn't just invest, buy the coin because you're bored and it only checked off like 2 of your 5 things that you look for. If it passes the due diligence test, then eventually it is going to turn around. You just don't know. The hardest thing, you can never figure out when things are going to turn around, whether there's one coin, one sector, or the market as a whole. You just have to trust it's going to turn around eventually, like that specific sector. And then it always does. But, you're always going to be second guessing your timing, particularly buying into a coin.
Have you bought into any coins where you did have that faith or belief it was going to turn around and it didn't, and you just round tripped your bags?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bunch of coins right there. There was the Myro, that was a coin back late 2023. Myro and Solana, that was one of the first Solana meme coins that was pumping with
I
bonk.
remember that one.
It was, my timing was perfect. Like literally the day I bought it at 3 million. Then literally the day I bought it, a bunch of other people got it, and then it started pumping. I sold some of that bag too early, and then the rest of it I held and just round tripped it from $400 million all the way back down to I don't even know what it's 10, 20, 25 million right now or something like that. So that was like a double whammy. Sold some too early and then round tripped the rest of it. But at least
man.
Yeah, it was painful, but at least it instilled confidence to me that it was a good pick right there. So at least my investment process was accurate for the most part.
So what does that teach you, like, for the next meme coin that you're going to go into?
So yeah, just stick with whatever the due diligence process for me, it was the devs Twitter game right there. So that showed me if they have just a real strong Twitter game, like a high frequency of tweets, 20 to 30 tweets per day, particularly in the beginning. And if a dev's only tweeting like 3 times a day, people are going to be thinking during those 8-hour gaps, like, what is he? Did he rug his project? Is he just going to disappear? So even if the quality of tweets for a meme coin isn't that great, or it's only okay, he's got to multiple people, him and other people. When one person sleeps, the other person's got to be running the Twitter page. It's just got to be a high frequency, so you never lose the momentum, and then you never, people are going to be a little bit insecure, just wondering where is the dev right now. So that's the Twitter game. I remember the Myro guy, and then I actually met the dev at a conference, and then they confirmed that they had 4 different people running the Myro account throughout. And that was when one of the first coins were like the memes really going viral. Meme coins back in Dogecoin, it'd be like Elon Musk tweeted about it, would pump, but it wasn't really like their memes on crypto Twitter were going viral. Myro was the first one then. So it really kind of helped me sort of analyze the crypto Twitter game.
Do you think right now we're in a place where everything kind of is hit and miss? Because we always talk about like the importance of devs being doxxed, the importance of the dev being out there and building with a community and building publicly and always being present, always being consistent. But then time and time again, lately, this is what I've been seeing with some, it's like they're present, and it's, they have a community and they're posting, you're getting people to go in, and then a couple of months later, they rug it.
Yeah, and then we've seen, I've seen devs who have a great track record. They had never rugged a project before, and then they just get frustrated. They rug a project. I've seen devs who they used to rug projects on day 2, day 3, then they actually become better and hold projects for much longer. I've had devs I've basically just trusted for a while, and then they just rug the project. So it's really annoying. I think devs are starting to understand that their network of influencers that they work with are important. So if you develop a reputation for rugging projects, most influencers are not going to want to work with you anymore. And if you don't have them, your project isn't going to be that successful. Even if the memes are fire, the narrative's great, your community is decent size, if you don't have the right people, the right KOLs who are calling your project. So that sort of keeps them in check a little bit. It's obviously never a perfect science, and the low cap game isn't that hot right now, but I do think it is going to be coming back pretty soon.
Do you think that it is fair for people to be shaming, like if we get into projects or say that we're promoting projects, etc., and they shame you because you're selling your tokens or you're making profit? Because it's either you sell or it's like you round trip it. Like, what do you think about that? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, the sell shaming, no, there should be absolutely none of that. Which is always awkward. So if you're a KOL, you're an influencer, you're calling a coin, you get attached to the community, but you also want to make money. So sometimes the right call, you want to keep tweeting about it, like being a part of the community, but sometimes the right call is selling your bag. So you sell your bag, but then you can keep calling it. I don't really think that's unethical or immoral, whatnot. I don't really think publicly doxing wallets is also a good idea. There's influencers who have publicly known wallets. I don't really know what they're thinking. You're just kind of inviting criticism. But yeah, people have a right to sell whenever they want. Your reputation matters most. So if you just stick with a project long run, even if you don't hold your bags, if you're sort of sticking with the community, then that's going to, in the end, sort of work the best for you. It's going to help you.
Because at the end of the day, if you're not taking any profits, then you're basically working for free, right? And that's what people don't understand. It's like if, you are a paid KOL to sell or to promote a project, but you're not making any money, it's like you decided to take allocation, then how is that fair if you don't sell any or make any dollar bills? How are you going to pay for your bill? How are you going to pay your bills at the end of the day? Are you working for free?
Industries only work when people are making money and they have incentive to make money. That's basically what the reason why civilizations have become more advanced. It's always that competitive nature to be rich and be successful and all that sort of stuff. So if in any industry, meme coins, crypto, or any other industry, if there's no incentive to make money, it's just not going to work. That's just what human nature is. So people have a right to sell whenever they want. Just, your reputation is also equally important. So it's always a balancing act between the two.
Absolutely. You talk about buying low and selling high. We know in life, not just markets, that tends to happen. How did you learn the discipline to wait when everything in you wants to move? Because, in this space, it's like if you don't move, everything runs you over.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest point. Just not selling too early, but also not round tripping. Knowing when it's one thing, just knowing which coins to buy. So if you're round tripping, it's not a bad thing because at least you're picking the right coins. They're going up at some point. So then you just kind of work on your timing. If your coins don't move at all, then you're probably just a bad trader. Maybe another industry is right for you. But there's no special science. And with the round tripping, it's gotten even harder because coins have an even shorter shelf life as each month goes by. So you want to say, I want to improve that, my patience, I want to hold for a longer period of time. But as time goes by, we're seeing shorter and shorter hold times are for all these coins. So then you don't necessarily want to hold too long.
Do you think people are chasing at this point?
Yeah, I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago. A lot of people were aping way too many coins, and then around December they kind of stopped, particularly on the Solana chain. People are just chasing, so those people are being patient. Now it seems like the low cap space is kind of just dead temporarily, but it's definitely going to be revived very soon. But yeah, people are chasing a little more a few months ago.
Do you think that Pump Fund has diluted the space with their platform and now content creators and launching, or do you think that in the long run, if they get it together, there's sustainability there?
It's obviously diluted the platform. It was successful, so it isn't. And the deployers are making money, so people don't realize they did a study, and then of all the people who are deploying tokens, the one who consistently stayed with tokens and made it their full-time job, like every week they were deploying a certain number of tokens or whatnot. I think over 80% of them were profitable. So deploying tokens is profitable, but trading, particularly times like right now, is not that not that profitable. That can change. So the incentive is to be a deployer, basically a dev, as opposed to a trader, which is a problem because then if no one's trading and buying your tokens, then even the deployers aren't going to make money. So that's sort of a problem right there. Obviously, Pump Fund has diluted it, but I think the culture has changed a little bit now. People are just looking for a few, when the market turns around, at least people are looking for a few sort of long-term holds, low cap still, but maybe 2, 3, 4 coins they can buy and hold for a longer run, as opposed to just every week buying more, holding for a short period of time. I think that's pretty much the Pump Fund sort of culture right there. I think that'll be gone forever.
You think so eventually? What about like other platforms that are similar that are coming out there that, are trying to reward content creators for live streaming with tokens? Because, there are a couple of platforms out there or blockchains that are trying to incentivize live streaming content creators.
Right. It seemed like it was going to blow up about 3, 4, 5 months ago, the content creation getting paid for that. And then it kind of just dissipated, but that could just because the market is down and the particular low cap space down. It might come back. You're not really hearing like creator rewards, that stuff being mentioned too much. I know we had Zora just shut down, and we talked about that in our space a couple hours ago. So yeah, a lot of people are good influencers who are like really into that right there. So content creation, the getting rewarded for content creation. I don't know if that's going to come back. Low caps pumping, trading, making money for that. That I think will come back, and then both of them will probably work in unison with each other.
What do you think of the Sora platform shutting down? Do you think it just
It was,
didn't stick?
yeah, it was a little surprising. I didn't really use it that much. It was definitely surprising. It didn't really seem to affect their token price too much, even though they announced the shutdown. It had a little bit of a dip, but not too much. And then once one project shuts down, then it becomes sort of socially acceptable for a bunch of other projects. They just don't want to be the one who pulled the plug. So that's the problem. Now we're probably going to see another similar platform in another couple of days shut down, and on and on and on.
Do you think that by them shutting down and then them announcing it is going to create a chain reaction for others to begin the shutdown as well?
Absolutely. And we see this every 3 or 4 months. It's a chain reaction. Like there were a bunch of like pre-sale projects that did the same thing 6 months ago. KOL rounds did it, launched the token 1-2 months, and they didn't want to stick with it for a couple of years. So once one announced, a couple of days later, a bunch of others announced, they pulled the plug as well. So we could see it with the content creator rewards, a chain reaction in the coming days and weeks. Yes.
Because don't you think too, like these big live streaming sites, they're huge competitors, right? They're already established. Like, we see Rumble right now. I think isn't Rumble already beginning to accept like crypto payments or token payments or one of those streaming services, and they're already well established. I mean, those are huge competitions. It's like, how do you compete with that? Like, for example, Pump Fund, right? It's like you can launch tokens on there, etc. And content creators, if they're not really making a lot of money or watching, but then you already have a huge following on on Twitch or Rumble, whatever. I mean, you can make money, and then if you're able to pay in crypto, I mean, then what value do these other platforms have?
Yeah, basically just another platform to make content. So always, if you're building your following, that's always going to be useful and profitable in some way. But in terms of specifically being paid in tokens, like Rumble, yeah, it's tough to say if that'll like really come back, or not really sure there. We'll see.
Or if it's even going to stick. But I mean, I was reading yesterday, it's like with the way that like MasterCard and BlackRock is setting up certain things, it's like they're trying to make it super simple, ease of use, especially for what do we want to call them, the normies, so they don't feel like they're actually paying with crypto. I mean, if we start going down that avenue where it's like they have regular people adapt to crypto where it doesn't feel like it's crypto, I mean, is that going to put a lot of platforms or companies within this space out of service? Because I mean, to me, I feel like a lot of platforms here are waiting for the normies to adapt. But then you see like these big institutions that are actually working to help the normies adapt to where it doesn't feel like, they're dealing with crypto.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. It's definitely better. I mean, those back in the day, like 2017, MasterCard, Visa, Discover, they were just hated crypto because it was competition. Back then. People thought Bitcoin was a payment mechanism was the main thing, not speculation. So it's going to go head to head with their industry using a credit card to pay for stuff. So they absolutely hated it. So it's definitely nice to have them being positive about the industry. As for adoption, yeah, I always think it's kind of a little bit overrated with the norm. We're always looking to adopt, institutional adoption, more retail adoption. I think we all just want the market to go up. I think the retail market pumps the market much more than the institutional market. That's what I think. And a lot of the MasterCard, exactly, they kind of have to be. Right now, crypto is trendy. It wasn't in 2017. It was only trendy with like the niche hardcore people. Right now, it's trendy. So if you're in the payment processing sector, you kind of have to be a part of crypto right now. It's like you're in with the sort of a tech-friendly, financial service that's trendy right now with the young people in particular. So if you say you're anti, then you're going to hurt your business. If you say you're positive, you'll either get a bunch of new people, using your cards and going fiat to crypto, or you won't, but at least you appear trendy. It's like a marketing pull move. So, mixed bag, I'd say.
Yeah. Ben, do you think that we are moving to a one world digital currency? Because I think we are eventually.
Good question. Yeah, I mean, right. It's pretty much just like the US dollar and the euro. Even when I'm not one of those two areas, I'm even seeing like euro options in like other countries that are not the US or Europe. So yeah, I think it is kind of going slowly in that direction. Yeah.
Do you think that Bitcoin was the one that kind of like was the setup to open the doors for that. And then maybe XRP being that one digital currency. I'm just throwing wild stuff out there. Don't shoot the messenger.
No, it's a good, yeah, good point right there. But even though Bitcoin didn't really make it as a payment mechanism, it's a very successful in a speculative sense, not only as payment, it did kind of set the seed for, okay, when people are going to spend their money on something, we need one universal currency, whether it's a real currency like the US dollar, or whether it's even just like stable coins. People actually are spending stable coins on goods right now. We never saw that back in the day. Back in the day, like 2017, you would only hold Tether just when you didn't think Bitcoin was going to go up. You just kind of shifting your portfolio. Now people are actually spending the money, or just paying for, services. Your graphic, like I pay my graphic designer. If I have a video editor, I pay them in stable coins. So we're seeing that adoption. So in that sense, USDC and Tether are kind of a universal currency for paying people in other countries specifically.
If you were to pick one or say, you know what, this one kind of feels or looks like it could be that coin that we are going to use for that one world digital currency. A lot of people say Bitcoin, but you can't select Bitcoin. If there's another one that you would have to select, which one do you think the possibility that it could be the one that we use?
Probably Tether, in terms of just like an everyday sort of thing. It has the test of time. It's been around since 2014. It has not had any major problems. It has not depegged less than, it's had 4 depegs in like the last 5 or 6 years, to like 92 cents, 95 cents, 90 cents. That's a pretty good track record right now. If it depegs to like 99.8 cents, people are freaking out. That's not bad if you ask me. So it stood the test of time. USDC is newer. Maybe USDC's reserves are a little better, a little more clear, but I just want the coin that is stuck around the most without depegging and having any sort of disasters, and Tether's the one there. So even though I know most people don't really trust the Tether people, long-term track record, it speaks for itself. So Tether would be the one I'd say.
I think that's a good one. Yes. Absolutely. Tammy says Mass published their own white paper in 2022. I will have to read it. Tammy, was that about Bitcoin, crypto, whatnot? But question for you. Success in this space can come fast. We've seen it. Sometimes it's slow, but staying grounded is a different challenge. What keeps you centered when everything around you is moving at such a high speed?
It's a good question. I like to work out, exercise pretty much every single day. That's great. It's just fun. It's good to get out of the house, and it does, relieve some stress. Get the endorphins going, definitely healthier. And then I like, unlike a lot of people on crypto Twitter, I actually do have a pretty busy IRL life outside of this. I like to go out on the weekends, hang out with friends and everything, have fun. So yeah, you can't just stay in front of the chart. I know some people are like, oh, you got to lock in, you need patience. I totally disagree. I think if you're totally locked in, your focus isn't really going to be there. You need to kind of, get outside every once in a while. Would you agree with that? Are you the same way?
I agree with it. I am one of those people that I am a workaholic, and I do work 24/7 if I could. But lately, I've been taking a little bit more time to spend a little bit more time in real life. And I think the weekends, I'm going to start taking them and spending time with family and friends, because one of the things that I notice is that you start feeling that burnout. You start, it's like crypto is going to be there. It's like you already know the market, you already know the charts. There's going to always be a meme coin. You miss one, there's going to be the next one. It's nonstop. But your health, your mental state of mind, that can go downhill real quick. And we've seen it with friends, we've seen it with people. So I'm in agreement with you. It's like you have to take time for yourself. And I used to read a lot of comments where, if you're not here on weekends and then you're not locked in. You're not here on weekends, you're missing out. And there was a point where we were seeing that if you were not here on weekends, we're missing out on things. But it seems like lately everybody is kind of moving at a similar pace, where it's like everything is starting to happen Monday through Friday. Now it's rare and random something happens on the weekend. I don't know if you feel it's been that way lately. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we haven't really paid attention on the weekends anymore.
It has turned into much more of like a Monday through Friday, or like Sunday to Friday. That's Sunday night to Friday sort of industry, yeah, which is good because then if the prices aren't moving on the weekend, you're not really missing things. So you kind of have to get out, and I think it actually does increase your productivity significantly if you do get out and just have fun. Go out at night or just hang out with friends, that sort of stuff. Then you're just so I'm Sunday night when I get back, I'm like zoned in completely. My concentration's at the best
Yeah.
level, so you absolutely have to just take time away.
Do you think that's happening too? Because it's like right now we're following the market, like when your traditional market, and it seems like crypto was never like that, right? Crypto, it was its own pace. We were truly decentralized. And then when a lot of the institutions, the politicians, all of these people that we wanted here and now we don't want here, came in and they were able to, in my opinion, control and begin to manipulate the crypto market a little bit more. It seems like now we are moving to the tune of how the traditional market runs. So it's like when it opens, it closes, and then we follow market where in London and Germany, when they open, close. And, of course, they're not open the weekends. Do you think that that could probably be part of why people don't do as much as we used to? Because now we're following that.
Yeah, and it was not like in 2017, it was not like that. Tech stocks would pump and crypto was kind of irrelevant to that. People don't realize that. Then in the last year or two, they became like totally correlated. Now, most of the time, yes, like today, the market's dumped, NVIDIA stock, tech stocks dumped, crypto did as well. But then like last week, we had a day where crypto was pumping, NVIDIA was down 2% on the day and some poor earnings release or something. So most of the time, yes, but not 100% of the time, which is good. That shows crypto can just decouple and go on a run, even if the rest of the market is just flat, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a difference between chasing opportunity and recognizing it. When did your perspective shift from reacting to the market to truly understanding it?
Good question. So from reacting to the market to understanding it, probably just late 2023, early 2024. Back then, before then, it was basically just buy Bitcoin, the top 5 coins or so, and then hold them. Then once you're kind of buying many more coins, you have many more different variables and things. Your due diligence is just much kind of more condensed now. Then I got a little bit better at it right then. There's a lot of market psychology you got to understand, all that sort of stuff. But it's kind of hard to pick a specific moment, but probably around when Solana was taken off and the Myra run, late 2023, early 2024, I'd say.
Yeah, for me, that happened actually recently this year. And for me, part of it was not understanding it, right? Once I started getting into trading, I used to trade before and I got wrecked, because I used to just go up and down. It's like I signed up for an account, loaded it with, and I thought it was just that easy, Ben. I thought, it's just click and, throw in a margin, throw in a percentage and open a long short and voila, you chase it and you get wrecked. And then, thereafter, my perspective changed when I actually started learning the fundamentals of trading, understanding, the closing, the swings, and all that stuff. And I think once you understand that too, it does help you when you're going to also want to go into memes and coins. I feel like I go into them a lot less than I used to because I'm into a lot. Now it's like I'm a lot more cautious.
It's over trade, right? So when did anyone stop? Everyone like over traded initially. It's like when did you kind of learn to be more patient? Only pick the right one. That's the hardest point. Sometimes like you want to go in a coin or open up a futures position. You just got that sort of gambling edge to you, but there's nothing there. So the best trade is no trade, and it's boring as hell. But I agree. So I guess just being patient, trading less, only the right trades. That's when everyone kind of becomes a good trader.
Yep. And a lot of the times, I sit there in spaces and we trade all day. And to some people, it may be boring, but when you're learning it, it actually becomes fun, especially when you're doing it with friends. But don't get wrecked, because sometimes I get wrecked still.
I can confirm you've been in those Zach BTC spaces for hours at a time. And he's like the futures guru of crypto Twitter, Zach XBTC. So yeah, I mean, you've got to be soaking in a lot of knowledge there with the amount of time you're in those spaces.
I've learned so much. Yes, I think
Yeah.
I made the most amount of money hanging around with him in his spaces than I have in the last few years in crypto, no lie. I lost a lot of money, and sitting in those spaces, learning from him and the people that come in, the knowledge and the willing to learn and understand it, they continue to educate you. And it's like every now and then I always feel like it's a little quizzes. It's like if we're looking at a chart. Okay, what do you think? Did you go in? What are you doing here? What are you doing there? What would you do? And I'm like, okay, I'm learning. But okay, so Ben, you made the decision to go all in on yourself during a bear market. When things were uncertain, what did the leap of faith cost you and what did it give you?
So I guess, so as a content creator, that was 2022. That's when I launched this channel, if that's what you're referring to then, the
Yes.
YouTube and Twitter. Yeah, because most people enter like 2021 bull run or like a year ago, and we were pumping. Very few people enter during a bear run. It was just kind of good timing for me. I first started watching YouTube videos in 2017. Guys like Chico Crypto, Crypto Bobby, Mark Davis, all those people. So I always kind of knew eventually I wanted to start my own channel, et cetera, like YouTube channel and the Twitter channel. I do mostly low cap calls on Twitter, and then I do deep dive, a lot of meme coins, a lot of medium caps, base chain stuff, Solana stuff. I do some top 10 stuff, little technical analysis as well. That's mostly YouTube, so it's a little bit different on most. It's a lot of meme coins right there in the YouTube. So 2022, I figured, okay, there's going to be a little less competition, less people are entering the space right now. And then I kind of know exactly which sort of communities I want to be covering. So I figured it was good time to enter. You wouldn't just be having too many projects being thrown. It's a good time to learn basically because it wouldn't be overwhelming like in the 2021 bull run. So that's, yeah, I pretty much always first 2014, first started getting interested in it. It was a bear market then right after Mt. Gox, and then 2022 started the YouTube channel, et cetera. So always bear markets. That's for productivity.
I love the freaking that you have quite a few on Tau.
Yep.
Bidden Tau. That one, I've been doing trading futures on that one, up and down, and that one has generated me a little bit more money than anything right now.
Nice.
It's just a lot of us are loving it right now.
It's been ripping the last week, especially ever since the NVIDIA CEO, for people to know, he was on an interview on CNBC, and he was the other guy in the interview was talking about Tao in very positive terms, a billionaire VC guy. And the NVIDIA CEO is kind of, he wasn't really
safe pilot
talking about Tao, but he was sort of liking the whole AI sector and all that sort of stuff. So the fact that it was in a conversation with the NVIDIA CEO, that has gotten the whole sector pumping for 6, 7, 8 days straight. There appears to be no slowdown in sight. So congrats on your winning trades there.
Yeah, that's been a super fun one. And I see it more and more on the timeline. A lot of people talking about it. A lot of our closest peers as well. And I'm like, that one is really, really taking off, doing wonderful things. So I've been behind every creator. There's a season where no one is watching us, right? And then all of a sudden, all eyes. What did your quiet season teach you about consistency and belief?
So yeah, consistency, that's what it all is basically. Like whether it's consistency with joining Twitter spaces or doing a trading routine or just, getting up every day and looking at the charts in a certain way. Consistency is everything. That's what it comes down to. And then, yeah, obviously, like I wasn't doing Twitter spaces before about, I don't know, maybe 9 months ago. So, but that's when I went full time I was working full time and then doing the YouTube channel, but about 9, 12 months ago, then I went full time. So then I need to sort of be interacting with more people and learn about the markets more. So started doing Twitter spaces. You find the right ones to just stay with them consistent. And then you obviously kind of form chemistry with people. You develop it. Everyone's got their own style, their own certain coins I want to talk about, the way they interact with each other. So then you learn from people and then your name gets out there more. People hear you talk. They hopefully hear you talk good and sound smart and everything. Someone they want to interact with more. So yeah, consistency is the people who are just like aping too many different coins or hanging around too many different people or just doing this Twitter space this day, then this one this day, and no consistency in the spaces. I'm not really a big fan of that. It's got to be just consistency in the type of sectors you're looking at, the Twitter spaces you join, the influencers you interact with. I'm all about consistency, and you are too. I can tell by following you on crypto Twitter as well. That's what it comes down to.
It's tough, being consistent. There's days, I don't know if you ever felt like that, where it's like, you still had to push and you just did not want to show up, but you still showed up anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you ever have those moments where it's just like, not today, I'm not feeling it, and you really are not feeling, and it just takes every being inside of you just to show up?
Yeah, and I know we know personally. You've obviously the last few weeks, you've definitely been experiencing that yourself. But yeah, the fact
Yeah.
that everyone encrypted Twitter for the most part is pretty pleasant. I found. I know some people think it's all
Mhm.
just a bunch of. I found there's a lot of funky personalities there. Everyone's entertaining. So if you have a trading losing streak or you're just in a bad day, normally I find encrypted Twitter sort of a mood elevator for me at least. Do you find the same way there?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Especially lately, it's like I just wanted to come into some of the spaces and I tell some of my friends or people, I'll DM them, please do not ask me any questions. I just come to really get my mind off of everything, just laugh, have a good time, joke around. I'm like, I don't want to talk about anything else. Okay, cool. Yeah, I do think depending on what spaces you go into, they can be mood elevators. And, trying to get back into the swing of things, like yesterday, last night, and this morning, I went back into trading spaces because, I don't want to let go of that right now. And I think right now we are with certain tokens in a big position to make some profit, whether it's up or down. So I
Yeah.
was like, I don't want to miss that. So trying to go back in.
And those trading spaces, those guys are good because they stick to their niche. They don't try to do too much. They're futures swing traders with the top coins. They're not trying to do a bunch of spot trading. They're not trying to do meme coin trading, low cap. It's just swing trading, large cap futures. That's it. They know their bread and butter. They're the experts in that. So if you want to learn from them, you learn from them. So good pick with that crew there.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Muhammad. He's on LinkedIn. He says he has been struggling with putting himself out there, but this conversation is during. Have you ever gotten to that point, Ben, where you like really, really struggle to do a video or do, one of your reviews and you just decided to completely put yourself out there and you're like, I can't quit today?
It's 2022 when I started, it got a little bit boring at time. Obviously, when you're first starting, you don't really know what kind of videos gain the most traction and which communities you're a part of.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of times you're doing a video on a project you like and you want it to do well and it doesn't, but then a community that other people have recommended you join, you wouldn't be your cup of tea. Then you do that, it has great traction. So you just kind of learned it. It's not always about what you want to join. It's the communities you're best fit for that have the best audience. So you do that. So there was a little bit of a learning curve with that initially. 2022. And then, yeah, it was exactly 17 months. Prices were just literally between like 16,000 Bitcoin and then 28, 29,000. It was a long, it was worse than 2018. It was, from what I remember, worse than 2014.
Mhm.
That was just the most patient time of all. And then eventually, what was it, October 2023, they just instantly turned around. And so you just got to be patient, basically. But yeah, right now we're going through some of those periods. I think any day we're going to turn around, start pumping. It's definitely not going to be another year and a half, 17-month bear run. So you just got to be patient. Can't predict when, but any day now, it's my prediction.
When you decided to leave everything behind, focus just creating content, at what point, or did you ever feel impatient because you were not seeing ROI, or were you expecting to see ROI fast, or at what point did you start seeing it? And you're like, okay, you know what? Everything is starting to fall into place.
So the first 2 years I was doing content creation, but then working a regular job outside of crypto. So it took a lot of the pressure off. Then if you're making money, then you don't really need, you're not, I would have been stressing out a lot more. Basically. It's like, okay, some
Yeah.
months you have a lot of deal flow, some you don't. So that I think that's, some people say you got to go all in, you have more time. I don't have any problems the first 2 years. Eventually it was like, there's not enough time of the day, especially when the markets are pumping. The market's dead, I could swing them both, the regular job and then the crypto stuff. When the market's pumping, you just don't have enough time of the day. So eventually it was the right decision, even during the slow times. Right now, I'm happy I made a decision. But yeah, to start, I don't, as long as you kind of sort of already, if you're not starting from, scratch, like if you've already been watching a lot of crypto YouTube videos, you kind of know how it goes, you kind of know what kind of coins you want to cover, the technical stuff. Then I would say, yeah, then you're probably getting enough time to just film videos at night and then afternoon on the job when stuff's kind of getting boring. When you're in your non-crypto job, you just sort of prepare your video, check the charts, that sort of stuff. I was able to swing it easily for the first 2 years, and then anyone else probably can too.
Yeah. When you first started, did and you started creating content, did you ever feel like, how can I put it? When I first started creating content or doing my live streams, I had a vision and my videos were going one way. I was talking about meme coins, communities, conspiracy. And then I allowed myself to pivot. So now the format that I'm doing right now with the interviews, these conversations, that's actually what I love to do. At any point, did you go through that where it's like you started creating videos one way and then it shifted and you pivoted? Because right now, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've built a platform by focusing on what others overlook. So do you think that that comes from strategy or from something deeper within you, something you've had to pivot?
So yeah, it was probably just mixing YouTube with Twitter because like projects that get a lot of traction on Twitter, they don't on YouTube, and vice versa. You would think they do.
Mm.
Like Buckcoin, that's a meme coin, huge Twitter community, great for charting, great for funny memes. YouTube, they're not quite as big. Those people just have short concentration spans. They don't like watching long videos.
Yeah.
Tao, they give a pretty big YouTube following. Toshi, that's a small meme coin that's had pretty much nothing going on with it the last 2 months, but it still gets huge traction. SPX 6900, they're big on both, especially YouTube. And then they do have a lot of news going on. So it all depends. But yeah, like even when you started the show, it was a great choice because you already had obviously you knew what you're doing with the show, and then you had a bunch of big influencers who were already going to come on immediately. So it's not like the show was starting from like just bare bones, somebody new here. It was you, a known person, a bunch of big names. So it was pretty much successful from pretty much day one, right? I remember when you launched it, I'm like, okay, it sounds like a pretty good idea. Then I saw the lineup in week 1, week 2. I'm like, okay, this is immediately going to be a big thing. And I mean, now you're probably booked, what, a couple weeks out each time?
I actually also have bookings all the way through April and May.
There we go. That's why I messaged you like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, it's gonna take a while. You better book right now. You probably have to wait a week or two, but if you wait a month, then she's gonna be booked like months out. So I was glad
Yeah, so I think after you reached out to get you booked, I booked you right away. And then thereafter, I created a calendar too because it was kind of hard to keep up with the DM because I did post also if anybody wanted him on the show, and I haven't posted again because it filled up really, really quick. And I'm booked all the way through May at this point. I did have to open up the week after because I missed last week to kind of squeeze everybody in and catch up for missing last week. But yeah, I mean, thankfully it's a lot of work. Thankfully, I am. Um,
that's 2
and
months
we'll
out.
see.
Yep,
Maybe.
I'm glad I reached out when I did, and congrats on the success with it. Which there aren't really too many of these. Like, there's a lot of live streams, but people don't have guests. People
Yeah.
just kind of like talk to themselves. Nothing against that, but this with guests and interesting guests of a wide variety, girls, guys, you have technical analysts, or just personalities in the space. So it's a good sort of new thing. This stream here, it's a good idea.
Yeah, I want to humanize the space. It's like people are building what they're doing, everybody's perspective. I think a lot of us can learn from everyone. I learn something new from every guest that I bring on. And a lot of the people that watch it or are consistently viewers, they also DM me and they're like, hey, that was a great show. Now I know this person a little bit more. Now I learned something new and etc. And then sometimes, they reach out and connect with you all, and you guys begin to build owing as well, from different communities, what people might not know of you or your community might not know of. And I think that's the beauty about this space. It's like, how can we cross pollinate and begin to build? Because we all have, I think, the same focus is in and what can we build in this space, but also make money, right?
Right, got to make money, but yeah, it's a great the amount that you've been learning from your guests as well. Obviously, hearing all the conversations one on one, it's hugely beneficial. And that probably listened maybe 4 or 5 of your shows. It's been very educational for me as well. I will keep listening to people here. So yeah, it's a good, very good. It's fun and it's educational as well. So keep listening, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. And then eventually I'm going to bring back my guests. It's like, okay, what happened to Ben 6 months down the line? Where are you, Ben? Ben is a rock star now. It's like his YouTube, I know you have a huge following on YouTube, compared to a lot of us that have started YouTube. How long did it take you to build your audience? And was it a struggle? I hear some people struggle with it.
It was kind of slow and steady at first. Yeah, I used to be like 90% YouTube, only 10% Twitter. Now I'm about 50% each, just to kind of complement. I do like doing a lot of charting and low caps. Generally, people don't watch the videos. So that's better for Twitter. So I just have interest in low caps. I have interest in the large cap memes and just do the video content creation process. So yeah, the YouTube, since it was 100% YouTube beginning, and then it didn't take that long to grow. It was kind of slow and steady. And I'd already watched so many videos since the 2017 bull run era. If I was starting out just now doing 50% Twitter, 50% YouTube, that would be a little bit tougher. But since I was totally zeroed in on YouTube initially, it wasn't that bad, even though it was a bear market then.
That's crazy awesome. If everything that you've built disappeared tomorrow, no platform, no audience, no market, what part of you would remain untouched?
That's a good question. I would still be just as interested in the markets. That's how I initially got into it, just looking at the prices every day, comparing Bitcoin to then this new thing, Ethereum, that came out, et cetera, and kind of looking at the technical, charting every day. So yeah, just the bare bones crypto price movement, looking at charts, that would never be able to take that away from me. That's how kind of crypto got started right there. So that obviously the content creation, meeting the other people, everyone on crypto Twitter, that's great as well. But charts, prices, buying coins, that sort of never goes away, that interest.
Absolutely. Okay, I know we're coming up to the hour. Do you have a few minutes to do rapid fire? While we do rapid fire, I will also put up the comments on the show. Everybody say hi to Ben. Shoot him a comment, a follow, say something. Don't be quiet. Guys, say hello to Ben. Ben, let's do this rapid fire. So it'll just be quick. It'll be like this or that. Okay, if you had to pick one, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Got to be Bitcoin. Since 2014, that was the first coin I got into, the first one I bought. So it's always kind of just, the longest period of time. So it's always the first coin you bought, first community you joined. So it's always going to be Bitcoin for me.
Always Bitcoin. Altcoins or meme coins?
Probably used to be altcoins, now meme coins. I found altcoins a lot of time you're just dealing with like vesting schedules and VCs that have gotten in and token unlocks. It just adds a lot. Meme coins, you don't have to worry about that stuff. And I like the virality of just a crypto Twitter meme and how that can really send a coin. So meme coins.
Bull market or bear market?
That's a good question. Everyone would just say bull market, but then it gets a little stressful, as we discussed. You have so many projects and people just getting thrown in your face. So bear market, you get the constant, like any other bear market, I would say bull market. Right now, it's about even. I mean, you got to go with bull market. You like when you're making money, but the bear market, it's just. I really appreciate just having more time to sort of do due diligence and find, people I like and new sectors and new projects to invest in.
Yep. Long-term hold or day trading?
Long-term hold, like roughly in the middle, but I've never really been a straight up day trader. I always like a hold time of at least a couple weeks, usually. Ideally, a super long-term hold time, but that's just not realistic. So I've never been entering a position with it having less than like a 2 to 3 week hold time.
Charts or gut feeling?
It's a good question. I go with the charts, but it's really my fundamental. If it's fundamental analysis over technical analysis, I'm much more of a fundamental analysis guy. TA is good to help you with timing, but it's all about just, is it a narrative you like? Is it the people you like? Is it, is the meme viral, that sort of stuff. So fundamental analysis over technical analysis.
Risk big or play it safe?
Right now, play it safe, just because the market isn't really pumping too much. But once I see the signs that the market is going to start elevate a little bit, then risk big, definitely.
Early entry or confirmed breakout?
That's a good question there. Early entry for me, which that's the hardest part, because as I've said, a lot of times my coins go down 10, 20%. You got to wait at least a couple days, even a week or two. And it's going to turn around. So always early entry for me, pretty much.
Build a community or chase a quick win?
That is a good question. I usually like to see a community already sort of formed and the vibes already there and some big names already in it. So look for like an early size community that already has decent numbers, but then I can grow from there.
Legacy wealth or fast money?
Legacy wealth, definitely.
That concludes our fun rapid fire question. I do have one last question. You know, when all of it is said and done, beyond the charts, beyond the content, what do you want people to feel when they think of your name?
Just hopefully a good low cap trader, a good, fundamental analyzer of coins, somebody who just knows the different sectors, somebody who knows the charts, and just hopefully a good, likable personality on crypto Twitter as well. I'd say all that's sort of wrapped up into one right there.
Wrapped up into one. Are there any parting words that you want to leave us with that anybody watching?
That's about it. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. So I'm on YouTube on Ben Crypto. Just search that. I'll be right beneath like Ben Cohen, BitBoy, and then I'm the third Ben right there. Twitter, I'm Ben Crypto as well. So you can find me right there. It's a lot of low cap calling on Twitter, and then as more medium cap and large cap, a lot of meme coin plays, some utility plays, more deeper fundamental analysis, deep dives on the YouTube side. I do daily YouTube videos and, Twitter. I'm always charting every single day, multiple tweets. So, and then I join a lot of crypto Twitter spaces, about one a day, usually several per week. Find me on there. And yes, that's where I am. Thank you very much for having me, Leslie. Really appreciate this opportunity.
It was such a pleasure, Ben. Thank you so much for coming on the show, for reaching out. I cannot wait to have you back in the future. And thank you for everyone that tunes in, watches us every single episode. And Ben, what a conversation. Love the real insight, real discipline that you have. And a reminder that the edge isn't given, it's built over time. So if anyone took something from tonight with you, apply it, move different, and always stay unscripted. Right, Ben?
That's right. And I look forward to coming back on here again. I had a great time. Thank you very much. So yeah, definitely love to come on again sometime.
Thank you, Ben, again for coming on. Everyone, take care and have a great evening tomorrow. Same time. Take care, Ben.
Thank you. See you later.